Oh, sorry, you had a question.
Oh, I just wanted to share a little anecdote, which was in the 80s, I drove up from Sydney to northern New South Wales to get to this party. We got there a bit late. When we got there, there'd been this punch that had been served, and it was a punch that was made with all sorts of things, including, in the end it turned out, rohypnol and acid. So we got to the party at sort of 3 o'clock in the morning going, hey, where's the party? And it was like, it was a party where a lot of people were actually part of an intentional community. And we got there and everyone was asleep. Like, we were like, hey, we've driven all the way here. And we got there and everyone was just asleep. Like
what if there were hypnol, like, why mix acid with hypnol? That would just defeat the purpose of both. What a waste. It could have gone either way and it just cancelled out. Yes, hi.
Sorry, this isn't very coherent. But I was just thinking while you were talking about being British and like we were talking earlier on about the fact that I have come across Kool-Aid in so many different contexts reading American literature, but I genuinely have no idea or have no idea actually what it was. It's like something that I own in a different context. And so kind of like hearing you talk, it's like, and I don't know if this sounds familiar to anyone, but it's like one of those ways that you can be interested in very profoundly foreign about America. It's like one of the things that's fascinating for me about Kool-Aid is the fact that it's the part of American culture that I just have no idea about. Like, and reading about it is like reading about, you forget kind of how far away America is because so much of the culture is kind of influenced, sort of both ways, but very much from there to here now. And so it's kind of one of those ways in which you just realise how very different parts of that culture are and how little you really understand it, and that makes it just massively fascinating and kind of peculiar.
Yeah, no, I definitely know what you're talking about, and I've yet to like test this theory on anyone who's American and who's grown up in America, because it's completely possible that it's like an American person turning around and being like, I've heard about this thing called tea, they drink it a lot, there's something fishy about it, you know, and then coming up with a conspiracy about something that's so commonplace and so everyday, and which is plausible. It's possible that this is just a complete load of crap that I have like imagined. That's fine.
Do you think sales went up or down after Jonestown?
Well, it's really interesting if you read what the Kool-Aid, like the Kool-Aid Wikipedia is great. And like what they've got to say about it, because it's in there, I think there's a section at the end which is like popular culture, like references in popular culture or something like that, and it's and there's this, and it says like it really vehemently defends the fact that it wasn't Kool-Aid, it was Flavor Aid, which is like the cheaper alternative to Kool-Aid. That is what did it in Jonestown, and then they went even further. I think they've changed it since, but they went even further at one point to say that like the reason that people think it is Kool-Aid because Kool-Aid was so much more popular and more famous that people would just understand it if they said Kool-Aid, which I think is like cashing in on a terrible tragedy, brand-wise. But I reckon, I don't know. I mean, like they're never going to be able to undo the Kool-Aid thing from Jonestown.
If there was a massacre that somehow involved vacuum cleaners, it would probably be called the Hoover.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Dyson now,
Dyson.
But I kind of like the idea that maybe like that like Brautigan, in my mind, Brautigan like started it. So Brautigan who wrote this book in 1961. And he was like Kool-Aid, man, it's all about the Kool-Aid, like in San Francisco, and then like he would have come across the Mary Pranksters and Ken Kesey at some point, and like I kind of like the idea of them reading Trout Fishing America and being like Kool-Aid wino, like, oh, this is kind of cool and interesting. This definitely didn't happen. This is just like what I would like to think had happened, and then and then you've got the acid test, and then it kind of. I just think that Jonestown is this really weird, like, frightening repeat of the acid tests, you know, like there's so much in it that is a kind of uncanny like reiteration, you know, a decade later, and it's the same setup, you've got the same like props and you've got the same rhetoric, but it's just been like inverted. So instead of being about like you know, like mental freedom and mind expansion, it's about like mental slavery and death. So yeah, I think that was kind of interesting.
Anything else?
Well, I was going to say sort of a bit of an extension from your point, which was that those big kind of American brand names, they become emblematic in, you know, literature and culture and stuff. And what I loved about the Kool-Aid in Trout Fishing and how it works within the rest of it is that the idea of wilderness is like that for us as kind of non-Americans, or not necessarily all non-Americans, but certainly sort of British readers. The vastness of genuine sort of wilderness is so alien and foreign, and I think that's a kind of emblem within the work. And then the Kool-Aid sort of interjection is the same idea, but rooted in a kind of urban and personal context rather than, you know, the wild and the fishing and the creeks and those things.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the radio program we did on Wednesday, and you were talking about Richard Gordigan and the urban landscape and you said the countryside injected into urban landscapes, and about libraries.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So this is something I was talking to Mark about.
Mark's radio program, which is called
I Can Hear the Grass.
I Can Hear the Grass Grow, and Fuchsia did a little bit on Richard Gordigan. Thank you for coming on, Mark. And yes.
Yeah, so I think like we were just talking about the ideas of how you have parks and libraries within cities as these spaces of like designated wilderness. So obviously not so much libraries, but with parks it's like a place where you can go, and the idea is that you like walk into a park to walk out of a city, but then also a library is kind of, there's this interesting interchange between a library and a park, because you've got like the books and the trees, and you can go and appreciate a book, and it's free, and like you don't have to pay to appreciate a tree, and the same in a library. And then obviously you can't take the trees home with you, but like I think there's you know something there. I haven't quite like got to it yet.
It's
But
growing ideas and growing physical things and sort of growing people, which is sort of linked to. I think it's an idea that runs through his stuff. And
definitely.
Particular please not this book. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. But Fuchsia has done the pictures at the back, and all the illustrations you see, and most of the illustrations you see on the website are made by the amazing Fuchsia. And she's handmade all these amazing things. So the fish cards, could you tell us about those?
They're just they're quotes from Trout Fishing in America. They are yours to keep, like sort of collectible baseball cards or something. Vera's idea. But yeah, it's just like a little. It's just a little quote from Trout Fishing in America, and they're stamped on the back with a lovely handmade stamp that Alex brought back from the pool.
Thank you very much to Alex, who made the sandwiches and brought back amazing things from the pool. Keep interrupting.
But no, there's like we've got some patches, some Trout Fishing in America fabric patches to sew onto your members' jackets, so you can be part of the gang, and they're £3 if you want one. But yeah, the cards are for you to keep, and also like from this, after this, it would be nice to everyone just like meet each other. You can use them as a conversation.
Yeah,
starter.
exchange the exchange your
You can
cards.
swap with them.
Yes, I'll show you mine.
But
I'm being so shit today. I'm so sorry.
But no, I'm
not
gonna
normally this dumb.
I'm gonna get another drink, and then
Yes.
please everybody mingle and eat the delicious sandwiches.
But I want to say one last thing. You know those patches that you had made?
Mm.
Those are all the patches in the world ever because they were made
Yeah.
specifically for
Yeah,
us.
they're
So
limited
And
edition.
everyone's different. I had a look.
They are all different.
thank you. Yes, drink and then let's mingle and chat. So thank